Good morning, everyone. This is Ben Price with the National Weather Service in Springfield, giving you a quick briefing on today's expected severe weather. We've got a moderate level 4 of 5 risk for severe storms today. Our main concern is very large hail up to the size of softballs being the main hazard, but then wind gusts up to 80 miles per hour and a few tornadoes are also possible. So this is going to be a quick briefing going through what we expect, kind of our expectations through the day, how storms may develop or evolve, and the different hazards that we're expecting. So we're looking for a potential morning development zone kind of east of I-49 and west of Highway 65. There's about a 30 to 50% chance of scattered thunderstorm development in this region, generally between the 9 to 11 a.m. time frame, and then those will move quickly off to the east, northeast, through the rest of the morning and then into early afternoon. So these storms that develop would generally be between the 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. time frame as they move from west to east, and then additional storms could be expected over the eastern Ozarks later in the day. With these morning storms, maybe an isolated tornado, but the main concern would be large hail to golf balls to baseballs and damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour. Then in the afternoon, we're looking at some potential redevelopment along the cold front during the peak heating of the day. This would be between 3 to 6 p.m., and then those storms would quickly move off to the east out of our CWA. This is where this enhanced to moderate risk comes in today, with large hail up to the size of softballs being our main concern, but then also damaging wind up to 80 miles per hour, and a couple tornadoes are also possible, though that's kind of on the low end of the spectrum there. These are the probabilities, so very high probability for wind gusts, and then there's a 10% chance that they could be significant. So you could see a lot of wind out there up to 60 miles per hour, but then there could be some isolated instances up to 80 miles per hour. And then of course 15 to 45% chance of large hail, with that hatching out here, meaning that there could be some significant hail greater than 2 inches, and we are expecting the largest hailstones to be up to baseballs or softballs. And then there is out there in the eastern Ozarks a 10% chance of tornado, with maybe a significant tornado. From what we have been looking at, though, that may be on the lesser end, with hail being a larger concern, but we can't rule out a couple tornadoes, and maybe one could be strong, but that's on the low end chance. As the storms move east, they'll have a much better chance of becoming tornadic. So this is a word salad here, but basically this is bringing in some uncertainty and considerations, but then also what we might see from impacts. Now we're forecasting baseball to softball sized hail, which is pretty large, and that could significantly damage cars, roofs, or siding, and of course people and animals that are caught outside. And that's especially if there's 60 to 80 mile per hour wind gusts going on. Baseball sized hail being blown by 80 mile per hour wind gusts could do some pretty significant damage to siding as well. So any storm that does form, we'll have to watch for any of these mature storms to be producing wind-driven hail. And then, of course, wind gusts up to 80 miles per hour could down trees and power lines, leading potential power outages and structural damage, so watch out for that. And then, of course, any tornado could damage trees and buildings and make flying debris life-threatening. Now, there are some certainty considerations to take into account. There's still some uncertainty in the extent of coverage, and I'll get into that in a little bit, but that's for both development periods. So there could just be one isolated storm or two, or up to scattered to numerous storms in a line. And I'll show you why there's still that uncertainty right now. But either way, any storm that develops will be capable of producing significant severe hazards. And as a little bit of historical perspective, given the forecasted environment, when we match that up to research with this kind of given environment, it kind of points to high confidence in any mature storm producing greater than 2 to 3.5 inch hail. So there's pretty high confidence that storms could produce that much if they do get going and become mature. So again, this is the confidence. Our confidence in coverage is kind of low right now. Models are saying different things. Though it's a cold front coming through. So given that cold frontal forcing and a forecasted rather uncapped environment, our intuition points to at least isolated scattered coverage storms today. There is a very low end scenario that no storms fire in our area at all until the front moves east of our area. This is kind of low confidence since we're expecting not really a cap on the environment, but there is a scenario where that does occur. And then there also is kind of the scenario where only one or two strong storms develop and kind of move through in each outlined time frame, and that's kind of it. And then, of course, there is the scenario where there's just a lot of storms that break out along that cold front as it moves through. So let me take a look at what I mean by that. Here's one model simulation. So this is one of the drier models. This is this low-end solution where maybe you only get one storm, or maybe it's kind of dry. So this is 10 a.m. this morning, 11 a.m., noon. As you can see, there's one storm that comes in from the south, and that storm keeps going, 1 p.m., 2 p.m., and then it's out of there. Maybe some redevelopment at that 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. time frame along the front, and then those are out, and that's about it for our area. So this is one solution where maybe you maybe get one storm that goes through, produces some hail, and maybe another storm along the front, or it could be completely dry. But now on the other end of the spectrum, here's another scenario that could happen. This is 10 a.m. this morning. 11 a.m. you start getting storms firing along the front within that I-49 to Highway 65 corridor. They get going. They get pretty large. You got them going along the front as they move eastward. And then as you get to 2 p.m., they start exiting the forecast area. And then at 3 p.m., you get some redevelopment in that same area in the eastern Ozarks. And then those get going as well to 4 p.m. And you get some bowing segments that could produce some damaging winds and, of course, large hail in there. And then those move out by 5 to 6 p.m. So that would be on the upper end of the spectrum where we see multiple storms throughout the day along the front. That's kind of what we're leaning towards right now, especially given the uncapped environment. But be aware that there is a scenario where either one or two storms occur or even none. So the bottom line, though, is that any chance of storms should exit the area by 6 to 7 p.m. today. After that, we should be dry until our next round comes in Saturday night. That's all I've got for you for this briefing. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us in Slack or on social media pages. And that's it. Stay safe out there. We'll be here to provide weather coverage for you throughout the day. Thank you.